Hey, how are you, amazing hackers? I'm so glad to be back here to Global Hack Week. And in this time, I have a very special guest. Like, it's a brand new coach from the Major League Hacking. So I want you all to give her a nice warm welcome to Jocelyn. So, Jocelyn, you want to join us here upstage?
Hey Alberto, nice to meet you, everyone.
So, Jocelyn, can you tell us where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Mexico, and right now I'm located in Monterrey, so it's
Nice.
near to the Texas border.
Really nice. So, for those who don't know me, I'm from Mexico too. So it's really nice to have another Mexican coach as well. So, you probably know if you have seen some of my streams that I I really start reading some comments and stuff. But this time I see no more comments like, oh, here you are. I know you're going that to miss me. 404, how are you? So, Jocelyn, this 404 is one of the, yeah, it is live. So he's one of the legends around in the Discord server. You will see his name a lot of times, and it's very loved by the hacker community. Um, so it's a pleasure to have you around, 404. It's so nice that you're done with your exams yet. So, how they went? Like, you're getting good grades. But yeah, you will be used to Yasling to see some familiar names. I love to see familiar names. I can think of, for example, here 404, Shimeri. But Shimeri, I think the last time she told me she was taking a break from global hacking and stuff. Um, Sparky is a good student. I can think of what other else is. Well, yeah, they were they are going to pop up at some time. But also, I like to see some new familiar names. Sorry, some no familiar names. So some new people around, and I like to give them all a nice and warm welcome. Sparky is also on a break, I think. Haven't seen them this month. Oh no, that's so nice, so bad. Well, I mean, fair enough. Being here all months have to be very overwhelming. Um, I have to do it because I'm a coach, right? But as a hacker, probably it can be very intense. So, what do you think, Jocelyn? Are you excited? Is this your first Global Hack Week, right?
As a coach, yeah, I mean I have been as a hacker like twice, and I remember I wanted to farm like all the points possible to earn swag.
That's nice. And did you get it? Like, did you actually get swag?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, I'm sure it was a nice try. Can you
Yeah.
remember which Global Hack Week was?
I think it was AI and machine learning. Yes.
Okay, that was one, and the second one.
I really don't remember. It was a long time ago, but I remember that we had to submit like projects to the post.
Okay,
Yeah,
maybe it was not a Global Hack Week then. It was hackathon indeed.
could be.
Yeah, because in Global Hack Week we have no depth of submissions, but that's fine. No worries. We have a comment here about hello there, hello here. I mean, like from G3 Tech. So nice. Good to have you around. I
Yeah,
think we have depth for submissions
yeah,
for the Global
I
Hack
think we
Week
do.
challenges. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. uh, yeah, I also need to get myself informed again on that. But thanks for the message. Hello there, hello everywhere. Yeah, hello everywhere will be the most accurate thing to say now. So, uh, so we are glad to have you here, Jocelyn. Can you tell us why this what this session is about?
Yeah, so we wanted to prepare something nice for everyone to prepare for their technical interviews. And we will be streaming live how Alberto and me solve some lead code slash hacker rank problems in live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this will be a series of three sessions. So we will be here today, tomorrow, like more or less the same time, and then on Wednesday. Um, we have a comment. Hello from the U.S. Midwest. Hello, DSA. Nice. So, um, yeah, the intention of this session it's for you to like get along with, for example, how I resolve these kind of problems, how Jocelyn does it. Like we probably have different things or ways to think a problem, but the intention is to share our mental process in this. I am going to resolve mine in JavaScript, of course, because I am a JavaScript developer. So, which language you use, Jocelyn, for solving this?
So I used to use Python, but then I realized that some problems are not very straightforward, so I switched to C++. plus plus.
Okay, nice. So CBB, for example, that's a reaction we have here on the DevTools. Oh, actually, it's yours. Okay,
Yeah.
but okay, then I am going to post my JavaScript reaction here. Um, because yeah, probably C++, I have to admit it, will be better like in terms of efficiency for solving algorithmia. But what I have to say, like. Um, Algorithm problems are supposedly to be like agnostic to the language you're using. So there are specific problems actually. For example, in the HackerRank that you can solve for the language you're using. Like if you want to be better in Python, there are structures that are more prepared for that in C++, in JavaScript, etc. In this case, that's not the point. Like we are not focusing in any languages here. The point is again the mental process on how we think and how we structure our thoughts as developers, as computer scientists, as these kind of things. um, Not so far ago, I gave a series on for example, the JavaScript universe, like how we need to make our mental model specifically for JavaScript and how JavaScript internally works. And this is going to be very related for that. But for example, what Jocelyn is going to do, it will be very, very similar. Like she has a mental model of how C++ works, and that it's going to help her a lot to resolve these problems. So nice. PHP more than Python here. Okay. Hello from India. Hello. Um, and well, that's another thing I have to mention about. For example, you mentioned you're in India. I'm from Mexico, but currently I have the pleasure to attend Hack Trend. So big hurrah for all the Trend University students here. And I'm in Canada. I'm in a city called Peterborough. That's like hour and a half driving from Toronto in the Ontario province. So where are you, right, Jocelyn?
Right now I'm in Monterey. Yeah, not Canada.
Okay. No, no, no. That's fine. That's really cool. Though, what time is it for you?
It's 11:17 p.m., so almost midnight.
Okay, for me, it is midnight. Like,
Really?
yeah, it is midnight with well 17 minutes. Um, and to be honest, I don't know what I was thinking of when I point myself for this schedule. I just end up and grab the hackathon. I'm kind of tired of that. Let's see if that doesn't affect my mental process here. Um, I guess I will be more PHP than Python instead. Oh, thanks to each. Oh, I see. Thanks for the clarification here. Um, so GTrack shows like C++, then Python, then JavaScript. Maple syrup and hotkey. Also, you all should sleep. Yeah, probably after this, I will get some very good sleep. Thanks for concerning. Alex says hello. So, okay, we're good. We established what we were going to do here. So let's get our hands on this. I will start sharing my screen. So if you feel comfortable, you can stay here on the stage Jocelyn, or you can step like outside the scenario, however you feel more comfortable. Let me start sharing my screen. Let's see if this doesn't crash because we were doing some internal tests before the stream, and my computer is not uh, putting a lot of effort on the screen share. Yeah, apparently it didn't crash, so nice. Well, first, what's HackerRank? Well, nice question. If you go here, we can Google for these kind of platforms that help us a lot to train in these solving problem skills. And I'm mentioning problems in general because once you enter HackerRank, for example, or LeetCode, uh, I have other that it's called Omega Up. Actually, I have a marker here around that. For example, I have HackerRank, LeetCode, Exorcism, Omega Op, and well, they are probably many others. But these four, that's the one I have tried and I have used. Uh, to be completely honest, I think my favorite one right now it's HackerRank. But also, lead code is still pretty nice. So let's start looking for that, like hacker rank. Here you are. So we select it. This is the main page. Then you create your account. This also has tool like for the companies if you're a company or you have a company or you're thinking of hiring developers, they help you with that. Also, lead code. I actually for the job I have right now, I think I do my test in lead code, if I remember it well, and I realized after doing my test because I probably didn't read it before that they were recording my screen so they I can actually see what all I was doing. Um, so that this will be very similar to that because that's what I want. I mean, like to be shared all your process, how you resolve the questions. And actually, during my interview, after I completed my technical interview, um, they asked me like how you why you crack this, why things do you think it could be improved, and etc. Um, but yeah. Meanwhile, you created your account. I'm going to grab some water, so I'll be back really soon.
I'll hop in so you don't get bored. How big is HackerRank for employers in a post-GPT world? I mean, I just got an interview scheduled for Bloomberg and they're using HackerRank, so I think it's pretty common, at least. Oh, Alberto is back. Hey, Alberto.
Yeah, so sorry, but I'll be talking all day, and now like I feel my throat's kind of rusty. I need some water. Mm. And that's a really nice question. Like, actually, for example, in my job now, I mentioned I made a test on lead code, but for currently when they are hiring, they don't use it anymore because of this. You're completely right. Like it was a game changer. Um, and at some point, some of them well, in the case of my job, some people have this idea like, well, if they can ask ChatGPT for the solution of this, for the answer, and so that then it makes no sense to have this at all, right? So that they went for um, another another type of interview, like interview. Well, was divided in two parts. First one, it was like algorithmia and stuff, and second part was well, in my case, I applied first for front end, so it was to create a to create an interface to connect some API to do something kind of front end stuff. But they get rid of the algorithm, yeah, and they only left the second part, which, to be honest, for me didn't make sense because you can also ask ChatGPT for that. So if you put it that way, then technical interviews don't make sense at all anymore. The problem here is that if you just assume that a person is going to ask ChatGPT for everything, and he is going to do that probably the same at work, like for every task it's given. Um, so then that's not a good developer. I mean, again, uh, all the AI stuff, all AI tools help us to be multiplied times 10. Like you are multiplied, but still you have to be at least more than one. If you're a one, you can be a 10. If you're a 10, you can be 100. But remember, the zeros is still zeros. So that would be my opinion. That like you still have the need to develop these kind of skills, and we mentioned this every time we give, like, for example, the copilot workshop. Like, these are just tools, but you still need to have the ability to understand what the tool is giving you. It will help you, yes, to save some time, um, to make your work quicker, uh, but it will not replace you at all. You know. Let me see if you were mentioning something. Jocelyn, this one's for you, Jocelyn.
Oh yeah, I think I answered in the chat, but at least in Hack Harvard, I mean Bloomberg was there and they were giving like um this like coding challenge that you had to solve, and they gave you like a like merch. But I didn't even talk with them like there. By that time, I think I already had applied to Bloomberg intern position for the summer in New York, and I got an interview like at least like 2 weeks after I applied, and supposedly I was going to have my interview like 2 week no yeah like 2 weeks ago, but I got really sick and I had to reschedule, so I'm having it on Tuesday. Yeah. Then they're saying that no, I didn't handed them my resume. I just applied like regular process, but I did obtain a referral from a friend who is full time there. So I think maybe that helped. Yep.
Nice. Yeah, I do agree. By the way, congratulations. Congratulations
Oh,
to
thanks. A nice experience.
yeah. I mean, like, did you tell them like how you get the chance to get to Harvard because you win that from Hack Monterey, isn't it?
No, no, actually I didn't. I mean,
Oh,
I
you
went to
didn't.
no, I went to Hack Monterey and there I won the soft tech challenge, which was like a sponsored challenge. But
Oh, you're
to
right. You're right.
obtain like the pass, you had to win like first place, and no, I didn't obtain that pass.
Oh, I sorry, I just got the idea that you obtained that pass from Hack Monterey. So then double congratulations because it's hard to get that right. So even the idea of being participating in Hack Harvard was just so cool. To win that, amazing. And well, we have a really accurate comment here, for example, from her for like HackerRank essentially tests problem solving. Yes, DSA is sort of that, but not the underlying problem solving, which is so inherently useful at that job tech. I cannot agree anymore with you. Like you're totally right. That's what they are testing. Yep, sure. Right, but understanding the code, it's a big part of the development outside of LLMs. So what a company is doing to prove the developers are developing up at the levels that our LLMs are creating. So this is a conversation, and this is not to have it. So, but the again, the underlying problem here, it's you should do it. Like if you are going to still, if you're going to be a developer, you should develop these skills. Gotcha. Thank you for the good. Congratulations. And yeah. So this is for you again. Congratulations for Hack Harvard and for all the other hackers too. And a nice dinosaur.
Oh, thanks.
So cool. So we can return here. I hope you already created your accounts. Uh, let's start with the solutions, resources, interviewing solutions. Oh, I cannot remember now. It may be because I need to sign up. Well, login in my case. For developers, login. I was already logged in. But yeah. Um, so in the prepare area, this is something that already it's happening right now. Like you can certify yourself in HackerRank, and you can also apply because some companies know this tool. I was mentioning that too. So they have like challenges that if you solve, you are like winning your entry to the company. So you can apply for jobs these ways. It's an interesting thing to have also. Um, Go ahead and take a try. Right now, we are just going to prepare. For example, this certification about Python basics is something I was mentioning. You can do specific things related to your language. In this case, you can prepare by other topics, like, for example, SQL, functional programming, object programming, directly mathematics, C++. If you're a Bash more user, you can take this Linux shell. Um, Even they released this new, well, in between quotes, new artificial intelligence one that I think it's very interesting because they do more than machine learning, but artificial intelligence algorithms in general. But that can be really good if you are into artificial intelligence for data structure and things. But we right now are going to prepare ourselves for algorithms. So let's hit that. So this is mine. I haven't completed many of these, but I think I well here I had some. prepared, which is the min max sum. So let's start solving a challenge. You will be redirected to this. So how this works is very similar to an IDE. Um, Here you can change the language. You can choose between these many languages. And in the left part, there is the instructions. So let's start reading this. Given five positive integers, find the minimum and maximum values that can be calculated by summing exactly four of the five integers. Then print the respective minimum and maximum values as the single line of two space separate long integers. And they show you an example. The array is equal to 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. The minimum sum is 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7. That's equal to 16. And the maximum sum is 3, 5, 7, and 9. And it's 24. So the output should be the single line of two space separated long integers, 16 from the minimum and 24 for the maximum. So the function description, uh, giving more boundaries to this problem, it's to complete the min max sum function in the editor below. The min max sum function, it's already clear here, so we can take a look to all the code. It's using some preparations for JavaScript, process, team, resume, blah blah blah. It already declared an input string, a current line, and the function that we are allowed to modify. So the comment says complete the min maximum function below. The function accepts integer array as our parameter. So we have for sure this is an integer array. And here the return we need to give, it's the one they mentioned before. So that's on us. And in the main function, they are calling our maximum function. So the print two space separate integers on one line, the min sum and the max sum of four of five elements. Input format, some constraints about the problem, output format, a sample input and sample output, and a bigger explanation on this. So the numbers, blah blah blah, calculate the following sums using four of the five integers. So if sum everything except one, the sum is 14, except for two, which is the second, it's 13, uh, 12, 11, and 10, for example. Hence, be aware of integer overflow. Use a 64-bit integer. Now, this is where the language you use can start make things tricky. Because in JavaScript, for example, we don't have division between floating numbers or integer numbers or long, double, etc. We just have regular number types by default, but we can do some tricky things to try to ensure that these are actually integers. And about the size of it, well, trying again to do more tricky steps. So let's try to let's start to solve this problem. How I can think of this, it's that, for example, the first step I can do is think myself how I will do this manually. So for giving the minimum sum of this, I will remove the maximum or the biggest element in the array. So that's why what they are doing here. The biggest element in the array is 9. So for the minimum sum, I'm not summing that, right? And the opposite for the maximum sum. If I want to get the most of all the values, then I'm not summing the smaller element in the array. So let's start by doing that. So we have the array, and we have a function called for each in JavaScript, and this will iterate over each element in the array. We pass a function that receives the element number in array, and what this do is to set. I'm going to compare our elements and establish which element it's the bigger, left bigger, and smaller of these numbers. So I will start defining both of them as the first element, right? So bigger, it's going to be number array, same as smaller. Well, I probably be better doing this outside, so let's do that. It will be equal to array first number, and same of this. Oh, here. Uh, if you need me to make this bigger, I can do it. Actually, I just think of that. Sorry. And then here inside, we'll we will start to compare. So if number in array it's bigger that bigger, then bigger it's going to be now assigned number in array. And we will do the same for the smaller, but the opposite. Like if number in array it's smaller than smaller, well, now smaller, it will be defined as the number in array. And let's start debugging that to see what does that throw us. Console.log smaller and console.log bigger bigger. And let's run this code just to see the output. We are not expecting this to be the correct answer. Okay, of course it's wrong, but we were not expecting this to be correct. We just wanted to see this output. So the output, the standard output here, it's smaller 1 and bigger 5. According to the data we have, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We know this is correct. The smaller number, it's 1, and the bigger number, it's 5. So now we can change or modify our code to make the sums. And uh, here we can delete this. And once these are identified, actually, uh, actually, what we need, it's not the number, but its index. So, funny, we can do many things. Like we can store both values. We can change how we are saving this to store just the index. But right now, I think a quick solution could be okay. Yeah, let's modify this. So, bigger, it's going to be an object containing the number equals the array, and the index equals 0, and same this number equals the array, and the index equals 0, because that's why we assign um, bigger dot number, smaller dot number, and we are not receiving more than the number array for the index. So bigger, it's going to be now dot number is bigger dot index, it's going to be I, smaller dot number, it's going to be this, and smaller dot index, it's going to be I. And here now we can make and store the values. um, let me see the output, if they want us now just to print it or to return it. Read line, replace, map. For doing this, we need to understand how they are using the function. So, for example, here they are just calling the function with the argument, but there is not storing any values. So the function won't return anything. So there are no return here. Instead, they want us to print inside the function. So parameters, yeah, exactly here. Print two space separated integers on one line. So console.log to space separated. So we are going to space separate this plus and plus. And here we're going to create a variable that's called min sum, and a variable called max sum. Min sum, it's going to be defined as the sum. Actually, there's a function, I think, that we can call for that. Okay, no worries. We are going to do that ourselves. So Let me see because I think in the comments you already mentioned that. So if you can refresh my memory, that would be nice. That's a medium. I struggle with such questions. Okay, don't worry. That we can sort this out together. Sort plus get first four plus get the last four elements. Oh, this is very interesting because that could be another approach. You're completely right. We can first sort the array instead of looking for the biggest or the minimum or the maximum number. That's another thing. Yeah, it's easy. Ha ha ha. Okay, an optimized solution will be to get a min max elements and subtract each from the sum to get the max min sum respectively. Okay, yeah, that could be another option too. Yeah, as you know, well, you're mentioning here a lot of great ideas. There are different ways to solve all these problems. Of course, we have things like, for example, the computational time and computational effort, like how the computer is going to be more prepared for solving this. So yeah, you're completely right. Oops, I was away from keyboard. Where is Jocelyn? Jocelyn is here. Like I can see her. The answer is my question. Okay. Sue. Okay. So, sorry, I thought you were mentioning in this other comment about the sum function in JavaScript, but no, you were mentioning something else. So the problem here now is that we already identify our big and small number. We are performing storing operations based on the comparison here that we iterate over each element. So yeah, probably this is not the most how to say optimized way to do it, but let's first resolve the problem and then we can talk about optimizations, right? Um, yeah, for getting the min sum. So what we are going to do is we are going to start iterating again over each element of the array. And after that, we are just going to skip the number of the index here. That sounds great. Yeah, it sounds great. Okay, let's start with 0 because this doesn't make sense to have any other value. So array dot for each, then again number in array, and this will be doing a if number in array. So no, if in this case we also need the index. If the index or I it's equal to min to the biggest bigger sorry dot index number, then we are not going to do anything. So we can also do different. To the maximum, we are going to sum the same value plus the numbering array, right? So that's it. And same if I it's different from smaller dot index, min sum will be equal to number in array equal plus. And at the end, we just print this. Okay, that makes sense. We can run this code. Oh, I display them the opposite. So they want first the. Oh no, I didn't display it the wrong. Uh, what I'm doing is I'm performing wrong the operations. Between the minimum, it's not 14, it's 10, and the maximum, it's not 10, it's 14. Yeah. So maximum, max sum will be different than the bigger. Yeah, this totally makes sense. So sorry, I confused here. Uh, what we are going to do is if the index it's different from the bigger, so we want to sum all except for the bigger to the minimum sum, and all except for the smaller for the maximum sum, of course. And now we can run this again, and it's supposed to pass. Perfect. So the simple test case was they the one they give us. The sample test case one or the second one. It's another that was hidden. Actually, we could see that just to see that our call is functioning. But now we're going to hit submit, and they are going to test this same code with much more values. So let's do that. We have 11 test cases. As you saw, the performance of this was not that bad because it it do it really quick, really fast. But let's see what else we can do. Like, congratulations, you have solved this challenge. Blah blah blah. Run this code. We can test it with custom inputs to see more test cases and stuff. Um, for unlocking this, we will have to not pay but give points or things like that. So yeah, they do have to do money about this, so don't worry. Um, Anything I like to mention? Hmm, I don't know. Like, Jocelyn, do you think I'm missing something here? Or another thing that will be valuable to tell hackers?
Mm, I mean, I liked how you debugged through the whole process.
Okay. So that will be it. To be honest, if I have to be fair, and if I were doing this for someone else, yeah, having to for each in the same function, it's not like the best thing. That's completely true. It's not so optimized. Actually, I like the approach. For example, Sir. Oh, sorry. I am sorry if I mispronounced this, but Sirbashi, yeah, mentioned about sorting, getting the first four and getting the last four elements, and then summing that up. Actually, that was really nice. And yeah, uh, let's see if we can call that. No, no, no. I don't want to be ambitious, and I want to give you space for code yourself because I already consumed the first half or of the session. So if we had time after Jocelyn code, we can return here and try to do some modifications. So, do you want to start with yours, Jocelyn?
Yeah, let me present my screen. Mm, I'm choosing this one.
Hey, I see Malik's around. So, sorry you're late. No, no worries. It's a great thing to have you around.
All right. So let's get started with this problem. I think Alberto already mentioned pretty straight what HackerRank is. And I mean, I still have received some assignments for interviews using HackerRank. So it is pretty common and it is also used by some companies, as I already mentioned, Bloomberg, one of them. And I chose this problem that was tagged under easy because the first time that I read it, I was like kind of confused because there are like many formulas and many numbers to consider. But right now, I will try to explain it like in an easy way that I like solving this type of problems. Just to clear out, I'm not like an expert solving lead code problems. I don't practice lead code like every day, like just like the regular stuff. So something that I like to do, even like in interviews, is to always have like this nice like comment section where I write like all the handy information that I want to present to the interviewer. And the first thing that I do is like read the problem out loud. So in here, it basically says that a company is adopting a new viral advertising strategy. And when they launch a new product, they advertise it to exactly 5 people on social media. So right now in this sentence, they're already telling us like a constant or something that will remain like throughout the problem. So then it says that on the first day, half of those, like the initial 5 people, liked the advertisement, and they hand us in this formula that is basically 5 divided by 2, and they round this number to 2 because 2 times 2 equals 4, and we don't want reminders in there, so it's just 2. And then it says that they share it with 3 of their friends. So what they're basically doing is that they're multiplying the 5 people times 3 as they place it in here. The 2 that we calculated earlier, and then the 3, and we get 6. And then they're basically telling us like this formula that is the recipients divided by 2. And then they multiply it by 3 because they are sharing with 3 of their friends. And that's how their advertisement algorithm works. And as an input, they're giving us n, which is a number of days that they want to, make this advertisement strategy. And then they give us like this nice a table where you can view like each step. And something I always like to do is, first start writing like the input elements that my problem is giving me. And for this case, we have an integer that is n, and this integer is basically the number of days that I have for advertisement. And that is all. As we can see, we only have to complete this function that receives a parameter in n. And as an output, I must give what is the number. I must give an integer 2 and return it into the function. And we have to return the cumulative number of likes on the 5th day, which is basically this number over here. I'm going to walk through that example on a while. I just want to write in here that we're going to call it cumulative. And this cumulative will be basically the number of likes that we have from our advertisement strategy. And some important data that we need to retrieve from this problem is that we have exactly 5 people on the first day. So that is a constant that we want to remember. And we also have that on the first day, we have those people. And then on the second day, we basically have this formula over here, 3 times 2. So it's 2 times 3, which is basically 6. And then we also have I'm going to write the formulas that we're using for this problem, because sometimes when I'm kind of solving these problems in the interview, I tend to forget a lot of what I'm doing. So I always like to have this nice like comment section that I can go back to in case I forget or I get lost or I'm just nervous and I don't know like how to continue. And for our formulas, we have the number of recipients divided by 2. And we also have the cumulative of likes times 3. And the addition of these two formulas is our answer. So in case we get lost while solving the problem, we can always go back to these comments and remember like where we were and what step of the process were we solving. And after that, I always like to go through an example by myself with the interviewer. For example, in here, the hacker rank people are already giving us like a nice table on how to lay things out. So I'm just going to write like sample, and I'm going to copy paste this into my problem. And I'm going to perform like all of the formulas for each step in the side of each one. So for the first day, we basically have that the number of people is 5. So we're going to start 5. And we know that we have to divide this number by 2 because we have it here in our formula. So it's basically recipients divided by 2. So it's divided by 2. And this is equal to 2, as I already mentioned over here. Why? Because we only want the least number. Like we don't want to make it decimal as we are talking about people. So it's just basically we're staying with the 2. You'll see when we run into the next examples. And after performing this, we're going to the second formula, which is basically the cumulative, which in this case is 2. That is what we obtain here. And we're going to perform our next operation, which is basically 2 times 3. Why? Because it is cumulative times 3. And this is equal to 6. And there we go. We already obtained the first one. And as you can see, this 6 is the one for the second day. So moving on to the second day, we start with 6, again divided by 2. And then that will be 3. And then for having that, we have 3 and we multiply by 3 as we're following the formula, and that is equal to 9. And we can see in here that the next day is 9. So I'll do one more in case someone is still not getting the pattern in here. And we're going to start with 9 divided by 2. And this will be equal to, oh no, divided by 2. I'm sorry, place a 3. I'm using a new keyboard, so I'm kind of like trying to see where is everything. But yeah. And in this case, we will use 4 because 4 times 2 equals 8. And we want to have like the least closer division. So in this case is 4. And then after that, the answer is 4 times 3, and that is equal to 12. So as we can see in here, 12 is over here. And we want to continue this pattern throughout the number of days until we reach number 5. And once we have the process of these two formulas or this pattern, our final answer is basically, so our answer will be basically the sum of our cumulative likes over here in this row, which were the ones that we were obtaining from our problem solving over here. So if we add all of the likes, we will obtain the number 24. And that is what we want to output in our function, or well, return it into our function. And that will be basically our answer. And so now, once we have all of these nicely done layout of how to do our function, we want to start writing, like some steps on how to approach it. Before I start coding, I always like to write like the algorithm steps that I will be using inside my function. So in this case, it's something pretty straightforward, as we already did like the manual solving of an example in here. We just want to find like what are the steps to take. So first we want to declare our variables. Then we want to iterate over the array, which will be the number of days that we are using over the number of days. Why are we iterating? Because we want to perform an operation for each day. So for day number one will be an operation, for day number two will be another operation, and that will be like progressively. So we want to follow this logic if we want to make it like not very brute force approach. And then after that, we want to perform our operations using the previous formulas. And lastly, we just want to return the cumulative addition. And the cumulative addition will be basically the answer that we get from our for loop over here. So to declare our variables, we know that we want to be updating the cumulative sum in base of the liked and the shared rows or variables. So we're going to need to declare three variables for each one of these: shared, liked, and cumulative. And so I'm just going to write them as they are. So as the problem mentioned at the beginning, the the function will always start with 5 people. So we know that our initial people will always be 5. And so we want to initialize this in 5 and not in 0, because we don't want to, start in 0 people when the problem is basically telling us to start with 5. And then we're going to declare the cumulative row of people, and that in this case will be 2. So something about C++ that I kind of struggled with when I started coding is that you have to declare like all the initial values for each step. Like you cannot just leave like in Python, for example, int num and that's it, because that will return an error later on. And for example, for some problems where you don't want the initial value to be 0 and you just want it to be like an empty space, you can just write like, for example, if you're using an int, and you can choose from either of these. I always go with int min or int max, in case you just want it to be like empty space to fill out later. But for this case, 0 is totally fine, I think. And then after that, we can start iterating over our, caps, our array. And instead of calling my index variable I want to call it something more representative. Because sometimes what interviewers like is that you write your code as clean as possible. Like, for example, they will focus on things as if you indented the brackets correctly, or if you're using um, like representative variable names. Because at the end, they want to recruit someone who basically will be a good fit into their team. So if you're just writing like numbers, well, variables that are not like representative, or things that doesn't represent anything, they will probably be kind of confused or ask you like why you decided to write the variables that name. So you want your algorithms to be as clear as possible and always like lay out all your whole thought process in case they ask you again on any step of the interview. So instead of calling my index I will call it days, as we are talking about iterating over the several days that we have, which will be basically n. So for this, I'm starting in one, as I want to compare one by one. And then after that, instead of using I, we want to end when? Well, when we reach n, because n is our number of days. So once we reach, in this case, 5, we will stop. And I started counting in one, because if we start like from 0, then I will have to end in 4, and make it more representative for my interviewer. Then I want to write the number where I will be ending, and I have to iterate uh, one by one, so it's plus plus. And after that, I'll put these comments in the inside so it's more simplified. And in here, we're going to write our first formula. And our first formula that we had is basically this one. So we want to create a new variable that will be the likes that we have. And that will be likes equal to my shared, which is 5 in this case for the first iteration. And then we want to divide it by 2. Why? Because again, it is laid out on our formula over here. And we already have and that thought process, so it should be easy for us to understand. And then what is the next step that I did over here? I then have to add it. So it will be cumulative. And in here, you can do this cumulative plus the like. Oh, it's likes. Or you can also just like simplify this by adding like the plus thing over here. And just leave it like this, which is more simplified and it looks cleaner when you're writing your code. And then after this, what are we missing? Well, we have to multiply times 3, which is our last step over here. So we already know that shared, which is equal to 5, will be to the likes times 3. Because again, we're following our algorithm that we described over here. And what's next is to multiply by 3. And at the end, we want to return the cumulative. And there we go. I think we are complete. But before I submit or run for the first time my algorithm, I always like to go through a walkthrough example with my interviewer in case I miss something or I miss a spell, something when I was writing or because I was nervous and things like that. So let's go through a walkthrough of it. So it receives an n, which is basically the days. I declared my variables. I know that the shared persons is 5 at the beginning, so this is fine. I also have my cumulative variable, which is 0. I also have my days that I go over starting in 1 and ending in 5. This is pretty straightforward, so it should be nice. And then we're calculating using another variable called likes, our first formula, which is the shared or recipients divided by 2. And then we want to add each one into our likes variables and store it in cumulative. And at the end, we want to multiply the likes by 3 because it is also mentioned in our formula over here. And at the end, we want to return the cumulative of our rows, as it is the information we have on this one. 2, 5, 9, 15, and 24 is our answer. So we want to return this cumulative. Why not from return? Oh, wait. I think this is outside the function. So right now my intention is not very good. That is not something you want to do. But let's run this. And I think, oh, it's it took um, it took plenty of time to process, so maybe it's not very optimal. I'll just clean this a little bit because it's not very nice. And as you can see, the problem was kind of long to understand like all of the things that you have to do. But once you get through like written example of how to solve the case scenarios that they give you over here, and you do like for example these written down notes on what to do and which processes to follow, then everything when you start coding will be like kind of straightforward. And in this case, as you can see, it's only like 3 lines of code to solve like all of these procedures, so it's pretty straightforward once you have like a clear vision of what to do. Let me submit and check if I can see the runtime. I cannot see runtime. That's weird. Alberto, can we see runtime on HackerRank problems, or that is only in lead code?
I was thinking the same. Like I cannot remember. You mentioned something very important at first, that you're not doing this all the time, just enough to practice and prepare for interviews, right? Well, me too. So I think yeah, that's maybe more for the lead code.
Mm, I see.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't see the runtime.
No, that's not nice.
Yeah, no. But well, you mentioned it, like it run really fast, like solutions and test cases were proved quickly. So maybe we don't have the exact number, but we get the feeling that it was nice.
Yeah, it was only like 3 lines of code at the end, so like a lot of comments and very few code.
No, I actually I did like a lot that you take your time to write all those things, and I agree a lot that giving your time to fully understand the problem, it's a better thing. And well, I in not only algorithm but in general, when I start a project, I like a lot to give this time to understand. For example, if I'm doing an interface or something related with the UI, I love to have that first like pixel perfect on Figma. That I love that. Or if it is a backend thing, I would like to have my workflow and the relations and stuff in the database all well defined before I start coding. Are you checking something special?
No, no, no. I was just saying. Do you want to do another one, or should I continue with another one?
No, I can do another one.
Perfect.
Yeah, let me add mine to stage two. But first, before jumping in the next one, I just want them to show you. This is what we built previously, and yeah, we used to have two for each two iterations here. Again, that was not the best, and so I heard the comment again that the most optimized solution was to um, get the min, the max, and then subtract it from the sum. And I totally agree. Like it was a really clean and beautiful solution. So here it is. We do the same. Like we get the bigger, the smaller, and we do it by making a comparison from all the elements. So we run this iteration, but just one time. We get the bigger, the smaller, and we get the total sum. So really easily, then after that, for the minimum sum, we just need to subtract the bigger number for the total sum, and same for the max number, we just need to subtract the the smaller number for the total sum. So that's it. Same result. Like I already submitted, but I can submit it again. And well, all test cases pass very quickly. So um, I don't know. I've been giving a thought on this, and I cannot think of a more optimized way of this. So yeah, thanks for the heads up here. And the other one I have been thinking that can be interesting to solve is this one. They present us an instruction that says there is a large pile of socks that must be paired by color. So this can be applied to our daily life. Given an array of integers representing the color of each sock, determine how many pairs of socks are matching with other colors. For example, we have an array of seven numbers, so we have for sure one will be odd. The array contains one, two, one, two, one, three, and 2. That meaning there is one pair of color 1. We can interpret this as red, blue, whatever we want. These are just numbers. And other one is for the color 2. So we have two pairs here, right? And three socks that will be odd. The function description tells us that we have to complete the sock merchant function in the editor, and it has the parameters n as the number of socks of the pile, and the r with the numbers of each sock. Returns an integer, the number of pairs. So again, let's start by thinking how we do this ourselves. So what I will do, what I think it should be done, it's for example, seek for the first number, like one, and then seek for an equal number. If I found this, I eliminate these two from the pile, from the list, and I add to the counter of number of pairs, because for the next time, if even if I, for example, here find the 2, I will find another 2. I delete these all both, so the next time I will find 1, but then I will not find another 1, so we'll pass to 3. I will find 3, but I will not find another 3. 2, I will not find another 2. So that will be it. That's the solution. I mean, if you can think of another solution, let us know here in comments. But what do you say about it, Jocelyn? You think of any other interesting approach?
Well, as we're talking about pairs, I will probably make like on or well, it's called hash map, or on C++ is on order map. So I will probably go
Okay.
solution with that.
Okay. Well, in JavaScript, mm, how does that work? Can you explain more to me?
Yeah, yeah. So it's basically you create like the on order map or hash map as it's mostly known, and you have to create like a variable of pairs because you want to
Mhm.
store like the amount of pairs that you have like for each addition, for example. And on a map, like you can just automatically calculate the number of pairs per color by dividing like the by two, like each element.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Here. G3egg tell me a hash map it's like an object in JavaScript. So yeah,
Oh,
I get what
okay.
you're meaning now. Uh, thanks for the translation there. But yeah, I agree that that's another thing we can do. So let's try both to see which one it's more optimized. I mean, like how you mentioning, I already think that yours is going to be more optimized. But hey, why not? Let's try it. Um, but and I will try to hurry up so you will have time for your second. So I will do the hash map one. Well, the object one. So yeah, nice approach to that. So R, I'm going to define my object here. So this will be const, um, this will be number of colors defined as an object. So then R dot for each we will receive uh, what's this color, and this what this is going to do. Oh, I give a space here that wasn't intended. What this is going to do is that we are going to decide number of colors, even the color it's going to um, saved. Uh, uh, okay, let me get the idea straight. First, I need to say, okay, I have my object. If I tell the object to go to the color, that will create a key value. And what I need to do is that once this key value exists, it's going to add one. Yeah, that works. And after all of this, let me console.log the number of colors. Uh, so let me run this code to see. Oh, this was undefined. Okay. What's the input here? No, I don't want the explanation. Simple input, standard input function 9. Okay, 9. Mm, 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 okay, raw answer because this returned undefined. Expected output was 3. Oh no, this is the debug. So I have a 10, a 20, a 30, uh, 50, not a number. Yeah, of course, because they don't have values, and once they I okay, yeah, I know what I broke here. So I'm going to just make a quick if number of color exist, do this. If it does not, number of colors will be equal to 1 color. And yeah, we need to divide, as you mentioned, the number, each number. So const number of pairs equals 0. Well, this is let then. And again, let's start this by doing array. Well, no, um, for and let me think. Um, okay, now I have the numbers here, and after that I will have to check for each value how many of them are paired and store that on number of pairs. So what I will do is number of colors. There's a function called object dot keys, and this will return me a list of the keys colors. This will return me a list of the keys, and for each of the keys colors dot for each. Just let me console log this to make sure this will work right. It's supposed to be 10, 20, 30, and 50. Uh, oh yeah, sorry, forgot to. So no. Sorry, but it started with C. Let colors equal, yeah, 10, 20, 30, and 50. Of course, yeah. Now, as we were mentioning, colors dot for each, and this will be the color, and this it's going to access the number of colors key and divide it into pair. Um, what this is going to give me, make me do the mental math. If I have 3 divided by 2, it's going to be 1.5. So we just want the round number of this. Um, so this, oh no, the model, what will be the model? Um, I can do this with node. Ah, well, another thing here. Let me explain what I am doing here. It's I like that when I have a question about JavaScript, and how the language works. I open my terminal, I just hit Node and start typing things like you saw like I previously performed this in floor division in Python. I don't know if we can do that. That's why I opened this because so for example I have 12. So now 12 we can perform this division. Um, oh, there's where's the key for this? I always forget. Um, well, let's check documentation. And yeah, oh no, what I hit Mozilla Fire Mozilla docs about JavaScript here. Yeah, thanks. Expression and operators addition. It was okay. Let's check quickly this page. Expression and operations. Overview very quickly. And no one regular expressions. Uh, this arithmetic. Ah, yeah, it was the percentage. So if a equals 11, a percentage is okay. Uh, okay, we can do another thing. A equal between two, it's 545. So a floor int dot floor. There's a function called parse int or parse int. Yeah, here it is. I just want to make sure if I have to apply these to the object itself. No, probably no. To 11 between 2. That will be 5 directly. Yeah, thanks. So now returning here. Sorry for that. Just needed to clarify my ideas, but now here we can make the pair making parse int directly to this perform here. And actually what this is going to do is to sum for the number of pairs so once we apply this to all elements and all of this we can return the number of pairs. Yes. So right now we're expecting 3. So let's see how this works. Yeah, our output is 3. And let's test it with more case scenarios. It passes all the answers here. So we done it. Thanks for the hash map insight, Jocelyn. You were correct in that, and I think it is a better approach for what I was thinking of. That we need to perform more operations, subtracting from a string and manipulating actually the data there. Here, I just created more stuff. So it was nice. Thanks for that.
Yeah, I really don't know like much JavaScript, so I wouldn't know what an object is like the equivalent of hash map. That is kind of weird.
Nah, that's my fault. I mean, because I'm supposed to know that it's a hash map. Um, but in concept, like, I know what you referred, but I didn't know that was called this way here. In JavaScript, that's also tricky because everything's an object. So yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, I hope this code is understanding. Let me explain it really fast before we go again with you, Jocelyn. We create our object because um, we now want to get, uh, we want to set a key. That's how it's called in JavaScript for each of the colors. So we get an array, the original array containing the pile of colors. Uh, we iterate over each color, and if there's a previous value for that key, meaning, for example, in our data set that it's given 10, we start each color with 10. The 10th number here, if it already have a value, we add a 1. If it doesn't have a value, we set it to 1. And that continuously happen until we finish our first array, meaning that 10th key it's going to have a value of 1, 2, 3, and 4. Or 20 key it's going to have a value of 1, 2, and 3. Or 30 key it's going to have a value of 1, and or 50 key it's going to have the same value of 1, because that's happening only one time. Then we need to get the list of the keys we have, right? Because if we just iterate again over the whole array, we are going to perform this operation over the same key 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and we don't want that. We actually even don't need that. So that's why we have this object.keys function that returns just the values of the keys inside this object. So now with those values, meaning the colors in for this specific example, now for all of them, now we iterate again, and we validate that if the division of 2 being parsed to an integer, meaning we don't care for the floating number, um, we can add that to the number of pairs. So remember, for example, the 10 key value in our number of colors object has a value of 4. So divided in 2, still just 4. And that that means we have two number of pairs. We can add that to the 0 that we had before. For 20, we have it 3 times. So in this case, it's going to give us the division of 1.5. We parse it int, so we delete that 0.5, meaning the floating number, and we add that to the number of pairs. So that's why we have 3 pairs in total. That was the first test. 30 and 50, it's going to give 0.5 divided in 2, because the value is just 1. It's repeated one time. And so we add 0 to the number of pairs. And that's it. That's how this code works, right? So, um, yeah, thanks, Jocelyn, for the insight, and thanks, G3AC, for the translation of the hash map. Do you want to continue with another algorithm for yourself?
Yeah, let me share screen and we're going to go through this one kind of quicker as we want. Uh, so This is there it is. So this is another um, easy label problem. At least if you find it, you can find it on HackerRank under the easy tag and under the tag of algorithms. And for this problem, I think it was under the label of array management. So I always like to start reading the problem and trying to write some notes for my interviewer or the person that I'm explaining the problem to. And first, we started giving an array of bird sightings where every element represents a bird type ID. And we have to determine the ID of the most frequently cited type. If more than one type has been spotted, that maximum amount, then we have to return the smallest of their IDs. And we're giving an array for our as an input on our function. And again, we only have to complete this function. We don't want to worry about all of the code that is written down here. We just want to make sure that we finish coding up this method. And for this example, we have our array of bird ID or bird sightings, and there are two ones, and we have two twos and one three. So this means that we have two birds with the ID of one, that we have another two birds with the ID of two, and that we have one bird with the ID of three. So we can visualize these as different types of birds if it is easier. Like for example, we can have the one be a bluebird, and we can have the two be a red bird or something like that to make it easier for us to understand what we're talking about. And in case the number of IDs repeat, which is the case for this example, as you can see, we have two birds of number one and two birds of number two. Then we want to pick the lower of the two types that we have seen. And in this case, the lower number, well, it's one. So when making our solution, we want to check this verification, usually using just an if case to choose the lower type of bird. And on our function, we have to complete is called migratory birds, and it receives a vector with the well, it is vector or also called array, but mostly called vector because it can change of size. And on that array, we will have all of our bird sightings, as we can see in our example here. So as an input, we have an vector of type integer that is called R. This is basically all of our bird sightings, so we can write it in as bird sights. And we want to return the lowest type ID of the most frequently sighted bird. So for us to have like a clear mind of what we want to do here, we basically just want to obtain the number that repeats the most and the lowest. So I can write it as number that repeats the most or most frequent if we're talking about frequency tables, and the lowest number if there is a tie. And by a tie, I mean a tie of frequencies, as we saw in the example in here. So let's just write again the example in here so we can get the explanation for our algorithm that we'll be developing a little more easier. And as an example, we have 1, 1, 2, 2, and 3. Let's see if there is any constraint. Constraints. Yeah. So we know that each type of bird will be either 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So we know that the elements that will be on our array will be under the range of those numbers. So I'm just going to write this in constraints so I don't forget when I'm coding the solution that The bird type or ID, as the problem is calling it, will always be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So we're not going to have a different number in here. And this is actually better for us because we can actually have an array of like fixed size instead of just trying to make like all the combinations possible. So going back to our sample, I'm going to use this one over here as we didn't explain that one. And we have 1, 4, 4, 4, 5, 3. So as a direct approach, if we were solving this by just like manually doing it ourselves, just without coding and anything, what we want to do is to go by each number. And for each number that I go by, I want to annotate its frequency or count the number that it appears each time that I'm moving forward. So if we go with the first number, let's call this, for example, our first round of iteration. We started in the zero position. So zero position is 1. In this case, we have 1 as an ID. And how many times has this appeared? Well, this only appeared 1 time, so it is 1. So for the second round, we will go over to the next number, which is 4. And 4, how many times has it appeared? So just 1. And then if we go to the third round, we go over to 4 and it appeared again, so we have to add another 1 to our counter, so this will be 2. And then on our fourth round, we move on to the next one. We note that it is also 4, so we have to add another 1 in here, and this will be 3. And then moving on to our fifth round, this will be the value is 5. And how many times has 5 appeared? Well, just 1. And finally, for our sixth round, we have 3, and the value of 3 has only appeared once. So by I, we can note that the value that repeats the most is 4, but that is because we are actually seeing like all of the values at once. But as the computer will interpret it, it's just basically going through each of them manually. So our answer here will be 4, which is the number that repeats the most. So in this case, the answer is equal to 4. And this is the sample output that we want to return. And we can see in here that HackerRun has like these nicely done examples. That is basically what I just did here to explain it. So let's go directly to the code to start wrapping things up. And first, we want to declare variables. That is what we always want to do first, declare variables. I'm just going to start writing the code at once as I want to save some time. And we want to use a vector. In this case, it will be an integer. Why? Because we already know that it would be of fixed size, as we already know that the bird types will only be like 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So this will be, we can call it count, as we want to count the number of birds that appeared. And I'm adding one more position, as in that extra position, I will be like counting the number that appears in each iteration, just to save up some memory and don't create like extra variables or things like that. So after that, I want to count each bird type. So if some of you have already tried problems like this is like kind of like the equivalent of the lead code problem that has to do with summing the pairs or summing like the most common elements. So it just basically changed like the the explanation of the problem. So we want to count each bird type in our R, which is the vector that we have over here. And for that, we can use a simple for each bird. We want to count each bird that we have on our array. And this is a nice function of C++ that you can just create like a straightforward for, just as in Python. Yep. So we want to count each different bird. And after that, I want to find the type of bird that repeats the most. As we already mentioned on our algorithm over here, we want to find the bird that basically repeats the most. So for that, we also have to make a for loop starting in I. In this case, I'm using the index I because we don't have like anything more representative that we can use. Oh, I don't find the alligator thing on my keyboard. Okay, I'll use this, but it is not this way. It is like the other way around, and I'll see if I can change it later because I don't find it in my keyboard. Or maybe if someone can write it in the chat, the alligator on the other way, and I can just copy paste, that would be pretty much appreciated. And then I want to add to the counter 1. And inside here, I want to count each of the appearances. So for that, I need to check if I already have the counter in there. So we're basically using count in the position I, which is according to the ID of the type. And we're using, okay, we need another variable in here, which will be basically our max count. So we'll be called max count equal to 0. And we also need an int for our result, which will also be equal to 0. So in here, we can basically use the max count variable. Let's see if, okay, I think no one typed the alligator thing. Okay, well, I'll find it later.
What do you mean with the alligator thing?
Like the
I'll be with
less than and greater than thing, like this.
less than and greater than, but in double.
No, no, no. Oh, that. The thing that this.
Oh, but you needed the other. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I needed the other one and I couldn't find it on my keyboard.
I'm so sorry. I thought you were like because there's a symbol that contains like that repeated twice. But yeah,
Oh
sorry.
no, no, no. But I cannot copy paste it. All
Uh,
right. I'll leave it for the end.
maybe
Where was I?
I sent it to
Uh,
you in the private chat, so maybe there you can copy paste it.
oh yeah, I can copy paste from here. I need this one over here. All right, thanks. Then we can continue. Okay, I was checking if we have already the max count. In case we don't, we want to update it. So our max count, we want to update the variable with the value that we are currently in, which is in this case is a count in the position of I, which is a number, the bird ID or the type of bird that we are currently in. And we want to update our result to I, as we already know that there are only like 5 types of birds. So it will be either 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And after doing that, this will cover up most of the test cases, but we also want to check if there is a repeated ID. So for that, we just do an else if, and we want to check if the ID repeated with the number of bird. So for that, we just want to check if it is equal to the max count, to the max count, and where is the thing? And if I is, again, the less than, is less than the result. Why? Because we want to return the one that is smaller, as it was mentioned on the problem earlier. And after doing that, we can go ahead and return our result, which result will be equal to the index that we are currently in. And I think I typed an extra pair of brackets over here. There we go. And as a result, well, we want to return the results. So let's just return result. And let me check if everything. So we got a bracket over here. We have, oh, we have on the brackets over there. I mean, it looks good. Let me just run it. Because I think we're a little bit over of time. Yeah, I think it will pass most of the case problems. But as you can see, it is pretty straightforward once we have, and once we know that the vector is of fixed size, and we know that we are storing like each count on one position of our vector, and we want to be updating our max count each time we make a new iteration. And this final condition is just to check if the, in case our max and count is the same, then that means we have a smaller value, and in that case we want to return the smaller ID, as it was explained in the example, that we want to return 1 instead of 2, as 1 is a smaller number or smaller bird type, and at the end just return the result. But yeah, I think that's all for the problem. Any final words, Alberto?
No, I mean, again, I really like how you take your time for developing the idea. Um, and well, for the audience, I think you enjoy this session. We're a little bit behind schedule, like we are past the time, but no other streams coming up, so we're good. So if you have any question, please let us know here. How do you feel on your first stream, Jocelyn?
It was nice. I mean, I like the chat interaction, even though it's a bit late.
No, yeah, I get it. So, the thing here, it could be late for us, but for some of them, it's really awesome. So, well, we have a comment here. Was really good, but I think it was good to be behind schedule. Uh, I didn't get it. Sorry. Did you get it? Like what he's trying to say?
I mean, I think it's related to the thing that you said earlier, that we were a bit behind schedule.
Oh
But
yeah.
I think, yeah.
Okay. Well, so as I mentioned at the beginning, this will be three series sessions. So next one, join us to start checking out some more medium tagged for difficulty problems. Are you ready, Jocelyn, for that?
I think medium is like my limit.
Yeah, maybe for the final session we can do a difficult tag one, but together to see
Yeah.
what can we do. But yeah, I do agree a lot. I just done this before, like for preparing, but I have friends that like built communities over these, like they practice and practice a lot algorithmia, and well, they are just insane trying to solve all this kind of stuff. So it was really nice to have you here around, and it was nice to be back to Global Hack Week, people. I love Career Week, and well, that's it for us. I hope you join us for the next sessions, but we are going to end this stream now. So, final words, Jocelyn.
Bye. We'll see you on the next session.
Yeah, those are good final words. See you. Bye bye.